You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hi, Days of Our Lives fans. I've got your early edition spoilers for March 3rd through the 7th. We are going to have Kristen and EJ DiMera freaking out, and Kat is really, really excited. It is Belinda from Soap Dirt. If you're not following us, please reach down, click that subscribe button. Let's get started, as we always do on early edition day, with what is happening the rest of this week, and then looking into next week. Wednesday, February 26th, we are going to have Stephanie completely shocking Shawn and Jada. And of course, Stephanie has a little shock of her own to see Shawn wet and all sexy looking in that towel. Clearly, he and Jada have just, I won't even say hit the sheets, they just hit the throw pillows on the sofa. Stephanie may need to see about getting that Scotch guarded. I think she and Alex, I know she and Philip, I think, have done the deed on that couch. I think she and Alex might have. She really, really needs to get some Scotch guard. Anyway, so Stephanie is going to tell them that she thinks this is Arnold and is not Rafe who did this stuff, even though Arnold is supposedly dead. But everybody knows dead's barely dead, really, in Salem. Brady corners Kristen, and he is grilling her because he knows that she knew Ava was being held captive by her crazy mom and that their daughter Rachel was involved, and he is furious. CPS is breathing down their neck. This is the worst time for Kristen to basically be a bad influence on their daughter and let this whole thing go on. Brady's very frustrated. He doesn't want to lose their daughter, and he feels like Kristen is just blowing this for both of them. And also, again, a very bad influence on their daughter. Meanwhile, Brady also tells Belle this week that EJ was complicit in Ava's captivity, that he knew she was there and didn't help, acting very shady. And, you know, they don't know about the Rafe kidnapping, but aiding and abetting in Kristen and her mom's kidnapping is definitely a big deal. Belle is very skeptical when EJ tries to explain, and she threatens to prosecute and lock him up. Now, usually when they argue, it's foreplay, but in this case, it might not be. We'll see how it goes. Rita tasers Arnold over at the Hernandez house, and it looks like this may be part of EJ's clever plan to swap him out with amnesiac Rafe. I'm sure we're going to see a little flashback of how that fight went at Blake House. Remember, EJ was trying to give him the injection. Rafe was fighting him off. But since EJ is back and fine and still has his own memory, then yeah, I think that everything is going his way for now. Thursday, February 27th, Sofia finds out that Chanel and Johnny want to adopt their kid. She's very excited. She has life plans. She wants to get back to them. Meanwhile, Jada and Shawn head over to arrest Rafe, which means Jada, I guess, is unsuspended. So big things are happening, but they might be arresting Rafe because they think he is an imposter based on what Stephanie said. But I believe they are going to be arresting the real Rafe, who has been drugged at this point. Belle goes and vents to Dr. Marlena Evans. She's talking to her mom about EJ. And, you know, I wonder if Doc's going to be able to hold back from saying, you know, I told you so. And let's be real, Belle knew who EJ was when she got into bed with him. And the thing is, she still really likes him. And Brady tries to persuade Ava to play ball, maybe to help keep Rachel out of the hands of Child Protective Services. It's going to be an awkward conversation. And Gabby wants Kayla to run a DNA test because, again, lots of people think that is somebody else. Gabby thinks there's no way her brother would call her a B, but, you know, he did. And he didn't, but she thought he did. So we'll see how this DNA test goes, but I believe it's going to be a match because that is the real Rafe. On Friday, February 28th, Chanel is having a medical procedure up at the hospital. Her mom, Paulina, is at her side, probably something to do with her infertility issues. And they're talking about Sofia and Tate and their baby and this possible adoption. And Paulina worries that the relationships are too close for this adoption to happen, and she thinks it may be a mistake. And remember, she let her sister adopt her child, Lonnie. So She actually is the voice of reason and experience on this. Johnny shares big news with Grandma Marlena about the adoption, and she thinks that they are just needlessly rushing and maybe they should tap the brakes and think about it. But of course, they're not gonna. Sofia talks to her mom, Amy, about Johnny and Chanel, and she's exaggerating things. So she may be overselling Chanel and Johnny as this churchy couple when they are definitely not. They already had that conversation with Tate. Speaking of Tate, Holly talks to Maggie about her love life and confirms that they did indeed do the deed. Also, Julie is telling Doug 3 how desperate she is to have the Horton family necklace back. And of course, he wants her to have it. The week of March 3rd through the 7th, Rafe is arrested, but he should be out soon, especially if the reason for his arrest was that he was this imposter, Arnold. The DNA test should get him out if that was indeed the charge, but his memory's messed up. He doesn't know why Jada and Gabby are mad at him. People may think he's faking amnesia because with that DNA test, they think, okay, he was just a jerk. But also there is the excuse that the coma has done something to his brain. So maybe he's not just going to get a DNA test. We may see an MRI, a CAT scan, some other stuff like that. EJ worries that Belle really may prosecute him. So, swapping Arnold for amnesia Rafe was his best escape plan from what he's done. Not that he ever wanted Arnold in town, because he didn't, but, EJ's paying for the sins of his own past. The Ava issue may be resolved soon, but the question is, will it be in the DiMera's favor? Or is little Rachel going to be snatched up by CPS because Brady's girlfriend won't play ball? I don't think she would send his kid to juvie no matter what. Plus Ava kind of is in a glass houses position about throwing stones because her other son, Charlie, was a rapist killer, And by the way, Mike Manning, who played Charlie Dale, is over on the new soap Beyond the Gates, if you haven't seen that, and he's doing quite a good job. He is a stay-at-home dad married to a male congressman, so he's half of a gay couple on Beyond the Gates, and he's a stay-at-home dad who's being treated like a lot of stay-at-home wives do, being diminished and where's my dinner and stuff like that. It's a really interesting role. I digress. All right, back to March 3rd through 7th. Jada may be the commissioner again because Rafe is in no shape to have that job, And the big question is, when will anybody realize Arnold might have really been part of this equation since EJ got the swap in place before the DNA test? Sofia is giddy at the idea of having adoptive parents waiting in the wings so she can get her life back and go to college, but her mom continues to be an obstacle. Arnold is most likely going to be shipped off because he is out of control and blew up EJ's plans. Kristen is terrified Rachel will be taken from her, and we will find out the fate of little Rachel and her grandma, Rachel Blake, the woman in white. Doug 3 is eaten up by guilt over the necklace thing. He really needs a job, but where can he turn? Maybe Holly will help him land a gig since she seems to like solving his problems. I think the pub needs help. Kat and Chad keep sparking as they work on ways to raise funds to save the hospital, and Jada struggles, and she is torn with the Rafe versus Shawn dilemma, since Rafe seems, more back to himself aside from whatever has happened to him as a result of this injection that EJ has done.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.